everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a catch-up for all the manga that I've been reading, starting with the very first series called Saint Seiya, where I've read the very first 7 volumes out of 15. Saint Seiya, this is very heavy, so I'm going to put it down. Saint Seiya is a series that I grew up watching as an anime, and I absolutely loved it. I watched it in French, so it was called Les Chevaliers du Zodiac, which means the Guardians of the Zodiac, or the Knights of the Zodiac, depending on how it's been translated. The original Japanese title, though, is Saint Seiya, where Seiya is our main character. And so this is this like very famous, older shonen manga series. It ran from 1986 to 1990. And it's basically like, it's based off of Greek myth, where Athena created this band of warriors, like 80 or 88 warriors that are based on the zodiac signs or the constellations. And then there are different levels. There's the bronze level of saints, there's a silver level of saints, and then a gold level of saints, where the gold level saints are the 12 major zodiac representations. And the story starts off with our main character, Seiya, becoming a bronze saint. So he starts off with like the end of his training. He becomes a bronze saint, and then we very quickly jump into the main plot of the first arc, which is the sanctuary arc, where it turns out Athena's throne has been usurped, because basically, and then she was almost killed, because basically Athena is reincarnated about once every 100 years when trouble is coming. So she was, someone usurped her throne, and they even tried to kill her, and now it's up to Saint Seiya and his friends to basically help Athena regain her throne. And so this manga is like super nostalgic, because yeah, I grew up watching this as an anime. Like, I loved that anime back then. I kind of never really had a good idea of what was going on, because it was mostly battles. And then because I would watch it during the summer in France, like if I missed episodes or I came in at the wrong time, I would have missed out on some episodes that might have explained what was going on. But the overall like idea of like these zodiacs fighting for like the battles, and then like loving the art as well, and like the green character, like loved it, and it had a really great impression. But reading the manga, even though I've had like a lot of fun reading this, it is so repetitive. Like, it is incredibly repetitive. Even the dialogue is just repetitive. It's just like, you have a battle, the character fighting, the saint fighting, has to fight against someone of a higher level. He is getting his ass kicked at the very beginning, and then the higher level character is like, well, I could kill you now, or I could keep playing around with you. And of course that character goes, nope, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing around with you, and first I'm gonna take away all your senses, so you see, now you can't hear anymore, now you can't see anymore, now you can't feel anymore, now you can't. And then right at the last moment, they're like, see, now that you can't, you've lost all your senses, I'm going to take away your life now to end the suffering. And then at that point, the character powers up, because now that he's lost all his senses, he can focus on his, like, the inner power within himself. Then he levels up, defeats the person, and then we have a new battle. And then it repeats again, and that repeats that cycle with every single character. And the dialogue is the same over and over again. And yet it's still fun. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's just so repetitive, but like, I have to admit, like, I really just love this old art style. It's just, it's amazing. That's what it is. But yeah, it's actually quite detailed, but as you can see, I keep turning random pages, and every single time it's just a battle. So I loved it, but at the end of the day, I actually wouldn't really recommend this to anyone. I really wouldn't, unless you're like into, like, say, the sort of like the history of like the shonen manga, like the evolution of shonen manga. Like, there's not really much reason to like read this. I mean, the series, so 15 volumes in this version, like 28 volumes in the original like publication. and that was all done in 4 years. And you can tell that this was a series that was created and finished in 4 years. Like it's very quick, and like because they were able to recycle the same dialogue and basically the same plot over and over again, it really makes it easy to just cycle through the chapters. So that makes it fun to read, but like I'm definitely taking a break after this Sanctuary arc before I read the Poseidon arc, because I kind of need a breather from the repetition. So yeah, like I wouldn't really recommend this series, but it is still very fun at the same time. And like I said, just like that nostalgia factor just made it like extra interesting, especially since now I finally know like, oh, that's what was going on, like that's why they're fighting. So really, really fun. And then just, yeah, but it's really interesting to see like the comparison with, you know, what shonen manga has become today, where there's definitely a requirement to have like a much deeper like background to the world and to the characters, and like the idea of friendship is definitely developed a lot better in modern shonen manga, and there's also definitely a lot more I would say variety in terms like battles and plots and things like that. So for that, it was definitely very, very interesting. But this is really just like nostalgia factor. Like that's what makes this fun for me. So then after that, I purchased, but also read immediately, I read the 7th and final volume of Orange. So Orange is it's really popular in the English language world. So anyone watching this video has probably either heard of it or has read it or plans to read it. But basically it's just like the story of a group of friends who one of the 6 friends died of suicide, and they always had this huge regret of, is there anything we could have done to prevent our friend from, you know, feeling like he needed to take his own life. So they write letters to themselves in the past, and they write these letters telling their past people, this is what's going to happen, this is what I think you should do to help our friend. And so the people themselves in the past receive these letters, and the whole story is about them basically changing this boy's life and making sure that he, you know, doesn't feel like he needs to commit suicide, basically. And so the original series finished with 5 volumes. Then the author came out with a 6th volume, which is the characters. So in the original 5 stories, it goes, the past characters received the letters, they fixed their timeline as they can. So the 6th volume is about the future of the new timeline. And then this 7th volume just follows like the other, not side characters because they're all equally important, but basically the side characters and their interaction with the letters, basically. Kind of just showing like what they wrote and whatnot. This felt like a cash grab. I was worried it was going to be a cash grab. I definitely tend to not really like those extra volumes that are published after an original volume, after an original series is finished. So I was thinking this is just a cash grab, but it was actually really sweet. Again, like at first, yeah, the first few chapters I was like, okay, cash grab, but then it got me and it pulled on my heartstrings, and this was definitely heartfelt again. But the author does say this is the final one, there are no more. So yeah, this is the official end of Orange. So this was really, really nice to read. It was nice to go back into that world. Then I purchased another manga and then immediately read it because I just wanted to try it out. It's brand new. There's only this one volume, and it's called 5080. And basically what it is what happens when you are a 50-year-old man living, and well, still living with your 80-year-old parents. So 5080. So it's basically just a 50-year-old man. He has no job, no training. He's a NEET, so which is no education, no training, no job. I forget exactly what the abbreviation is. But yeah, he still lives with his parents. And this one, I don't know, like I wanted it to be more than what it was. I really thought this was going to be an incredibly crazy gag manga. But it left me a little disappointed, to be honest. The art is kind of interesting. Not exactly my favorite, but I think it works for the kind of story this is. So this just gives you an idea. It's a lot of text. But for me, it's the direction that I'm kind of confused about, because as of this current volume, this one and only volume, our protagonist, he's explaining to us, the reader, what it means to be a 50-year-old with no job who lives with his parents. So he's like, people like me have this stereotype, and then the chapter deals with that stereotype. And then the next chapter, he's like, here's another stereotype that you might be aware of, and the chapter deals with that stereotype. But the thing is that, if the series continues, is it always going to be like that, where he's explaining a stereotype and then he gives us an anecdote based off of that stereotype? Because if that's the case, there's only so many stereotypes you can go through, so where is that going to take us? So I kind of wanted to push the gag manga a little bit more. I kind of want it to be a little bit funnier. So I don't know. If a volume 2 does come out, I think, yes, I will try it. But if I don't like that, then I'll just cut this series off. But I am still happy I bought this. I'm still happy I read it. It's very good to support authors in their debut works. Or I don't know if it's their debut work, but the first volume of a new series, definitely. It's good to encourage these authors. But I must admit, I was a little disappointed in this one. All right. Before I go into the next series, I do want to mention 2 new purchases that I have not read yet. So volume 10 of極主婦道, The Way of the Household, just came out in Japan. It came out within when I'm filming this, it came out within the previous 2 weeks. By the time you see this video, it'll already be a month or so, maybe, or maybe even a month and a half. But yeah, the 10th volume of極主婦道has just come out, so I'm very excited to read this because it's always a blast to read that series. So much fun. So that one excites me. And then I bought the first volume of another fairly fresh and new manga. There are only 4 volumes out right now, but it did. It was part of. So it did win. Why am I struggling to say this? It's because I'm trying to read Japanese as I talk. So it did read the manga prize for 2022 for best manga, and that is called Darwin jihen, which means Darwin's incident. And basically what it is, as far as I can tell from the blurb, is so there is. Let me kind of read it. So there's a terrorist organization that was doing research and basically created this half chimpanzee, half human. And so the story is going to basically deal with this terrorist group and this half chimpanzee, half human. I'm assuming the human side of this character is going to grow and basically won't be very human and have morals and realize this terrorist organization is not good. That's what I'm assuming this manga is going to be about. But you can see the art on the back, and to show you the art in the middle. Like I said, I haven't actually I haven't actually read this yet, but just seeing the cover of the book and sort of giving a flip through of the art and just the synopsis in general made this seem really, really interesting. So I am looking forward to reading this one. And like I said, there are 4 volumes out, so not a huge commitment that I have to make yet. But yeah, I'm excited about that. All right. Next, super exciting. My favorite read so far is I started reading my mangas. My next soccer manga series of the year. I tend to read about 1 soccer manga series per year. I like to do more, but I don't know. I do have other things I need to read as well. But I've read the first 10 volumes of the soccer manga called Shoot. And I believe there are 33 volumes, so I'm about a third of the way through. So this is a 90s soccer manga. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite series. ever. And it's probably one, I mean, I have Oritachi no Fiudo, but it's one of my favorite soccer mangas so far that I've read. It's just absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Why is it amazing? Because, so, like, I love soccer manga and I love soccer and I love, you know, I can watch, I mean, not watch, I keep saying watch today. I can read, you know, soccer games as drawn in a manga all day, and I don't mind. I don't mind that there's match after match after match. But the thing that's really good about this series is that, yes, it's a soccer manga, but it doesn't forget that our protagonists are high school boys. And it really gives life, this manga really gives life to our three main boys, our soccer trio. It really gives life to them outside of soccer. And they're high school boys, so they want to see boobies. They want to, like, see, you know, catch a glimpse of a panty here and there. They, like, you know, they get kind of rough with the other boys in the crowd, or they're just, like, you know, taking the piss at each other. Like, you know, like, it's fun, and, you know, it's very, like, very gag heavy, and it's hilarious. I have cracked up so many times while reading the series. It's been absolutely amazing. It is so funny, and at the same time, like, it doesn't have, like, when it comes to the soccer, it doesn't have the huge cliches, and it's not constantly, like, you know, the defense from the other side of the team is like, no, you won't get past me, or I won't let you get past me. And, like, a lot of the soccer manga, that dialogue is heavy, and it's repetitive, and you get it over and over. Like, yeah, you won't get past me, and then the next frame, oh, look, he got past me, you know? So this, while it has really good soccer scenes, I think it's very good at sort of cutting out all that dialogue that, to be honest, you don't even have the time to think of when you're actually playing soccer. Like, you're not thinking, this person's not going to get past me. No one does that. So it really gives you a good feel, gives you some good soccer action that is appropriate for a soccer manga, but without but while avoiding a lot of the cliches that, like, soccer manga tends to, you know, have in its volumes. And like I said, it just represents the boys so well, and the art is fantastic. There are, you know, there's also, like, fun little love story, and it's realistic too, because, like, again, like, these boys are in high school. They're normal. They make mistakes. They're stupid. They're dumb. They just want to have fun. Like, that's what it should be, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's funny because, like, you know, I have a lot of male friends, and I'm telling them I'm watching Jujutsu, and they're like, oh, I loved that manga when I was young, you know, like, they just absolutely love this manga. One of them said, yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's definitely a favorite soccer manga. They absolutely love this. I was reading this at the beach, and a guy came up to me and was like, oh my gosh, you're reading Shoot? Like, that's crazy. Wow, like, crazy. So yeah, definitely a very popular series, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm just flying through this. It just crazy good. Oh, I should have ended the video on that, but I actually have one more volume to talk about, and that is called The Quartet Game by Yoshizumi Wataru. That's what it is. Yoshizumi Wataru. This is basically the debut standalone manga by the same mangaka who did Marmalade Boy, which I read at the beginning of the year. This basically has 3 different stories that they're not connected, but 3 different stories. The first one being the Quartet Game, which is just about, like, these group of 4 who are asked by their school to perform this classical piece for a visiting violinist who's coming back to visit the school that he graduated from. And they're asked to play this piece that no one thought existed by Schubert. And turns out there's, like, a mystery behind this piece of music. And basically what the author states in her little author note is that she wanted to create an interesting, like a, not detective, like a mystery, like a fun little mystery story for girls. Like, there's a lot of mystery, she said there's a lot of mystery stories out there, and they're great, but there aren't that many for girls, and she wanted to create that. For me, I thought it was kind of boring. It was very lackluster. The characters are super flat. Not all the relationships are super forced. The mystery's not that good. If you want a good girls detective story, for me,探偵レボリューション, so Detective Revolution, I thought was really, really good. Like, that one's great. That female protagonist, she's super strong. It's not like really super absurd mystery. Like, it's very like, okay, this could happen, and like she has, it's just good. This was not very good. I didn't like it. It got a little better towards the third story, so I had to pick up a little bit. But I mean, I really enjoyed Marmalade Boy. Marmalade Boy was spot on. The comedy, the characters' connections were interesting. The really ridiculous situation the main character is in was very, like, you could really feel for that character, and it made it fun and it made it interesting. But this didn't really have that much to it. So, but I'm very happy that this author was able to continue and create Marmalade Boy, because Marmalade Boy is fantastic. So fun to do this, but I'm really glad to have this off my TBR. I actually read it because I have a spreadsheet list that lists all the manga I own, so I know where my TBR is, which is, it's still a lot. It's still over 400, but it's gonna get under 400 this year. It's happening, and I'm very excited about it. But basically, I highlight a series in green and I put finish when I finish, and this one was just staring at me for a long time. I'm like, I should just read that. So I was able to update my spreadsheet with finished. So in any case, yeah, that's where I'm at with manga. I will most likely just continue reading through Shoot and finish it in one go. That's what I tend to do with soccer manga. That's what's fun for me. And then極主婦道number 10 will probably get read immediately after that. And then, yeah, after that, we'll just see where the motivation, or not the motivation, but see where the mood strikes me. So, in any case, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye!